we're now here at a cafe and we thought of talking about being missionaries. So what does being a missionary mean?
Well, for me, I've always thought that a missionary is a person who left his work and doing church activities most of the time, like the disciples called by Jesus, if you remember that. They left their work and followed him by sharing the gospel. They didn't have job or businesses done. For sure, there are people who are called for that full-time capacity of service, but it does not mean that they are the only ones called as missionaries. Besides, being a missionary, I believe, is not about a title, rather it's a lifestyle, right? I had a conversation with a colleague of mine asking her, what's her say about calling myself as a missionary? She told me that prior to joining Kairos, I thought I am not a missionary because I am working. But then I am enlightened that we are all missionaries wherever we are. I agree with her. I agree with her statement. In fact, I believe that the moment we have decided to follow Jesus, we signed up of becoming or to becoming a missionary. The work we have, the businesses, the family, the firm, wherever we are the platforms for us to demonstrate and share the gospel to the people around us. Having said that, you and I are missionaries using these platforms for us to minister in our full-time capacity.
Alright, so for me, my reference of understanding what being a missionary means is when Jesus said in Matthew 28:19-20, "Go therefore and make disciples of the nations." It means help the people to learn of me. Jesus said, "Believe in me and obey my words," baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe everything that I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, meaning remaining with you perpetually regardless of circumstance and on every occasion, even to the end of the age. So my first point is that a missionary is someone who goes, all right? Second, a missionary is someone who is a carrier or a vessel of the message or the gospel. Third, a missionary is someone who is intentional in sharing the gospel to people and making Jesus known to them. And fourth, a missionary is someone who doesn't just share the good news to people, but also teaching the people all that Jesus has commanded. So there, we can see that there is going, carrying, sharing, and teaching. And the Bible doesn't really have a specific standard of like a missionary is not supposed to have a job or business on the side. That is not the measurement of the Bible, whether you are a missionary or not, right? The question is, what is your job for? If your intention of having a job is for you to earn and pay your bills, etc., and you don't really have the intention to share the gospel, then that defeats the meaning of being a missionary. But if your main intention of having a job is to use it as a means and platform, like you said, to intentionally share the gospel and make Jesus known to people, then that's it, right? Because even Apostle Paul had to work for a living because the people he was ministering to at the time, the Corinthian people, didn't have the heart or initiative to support Paul financially, so that all he could do was, spreading the gospel. Even then, Paul wasn't disqualified as a missionary. He's always been called to be. And by the way, being called a tent making missionary doesn't mean you're not a full-time missionary. A tent maker is Christ's follower with a missionary calling to serve others cross-culturally through his or her profession and make disciples of people who have yet to know Jesus. Now, when it comes to that thought of being called a full-time missionary with the definition of not having a job or a business, you can do that if the people you're ministering to agree to support your financial and material need. But if not, then do like Paul, right? That doesn't define you as a part-time missionary, no? Okay, my point is being a full-time missionary cannot be solely measured if you have a job or not. For me, the intention and action you're doing are a more reliable measurement whether you're a full-time missionary or not.
So now the question that you and I might ask ourselves is that, am I really a missionary in the platform where I am stationed by God?
Yeah, definitely that's the question. Cheers. Cheers, and we see you guys. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. See you in our next thought.
He is.
Okay. I had a conversation. Ayan,
Okay, we're here.
I had a
Okay.